Hi guys, Harry here from the Art Gear Guy. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today I've got a really cool little product to show you. I'm sure some of you have either used this or seen it on eBay or Amazon or something like that, or on the Caran website. I've seen it for ages and I wanted to have a look at it. I wanted to review it. I wanted to, I had so many different things in my own head about it that I wanted answering, and I just thought to myself, I'm sure some of you guys do as well. And it is quite expensive, so that's why I wanted to review it, because I didn't want people going out and buying something like this, spending the money on it, and thinking to themselves, wow, what a waste. So I wanted to get this product, I wanted to review it for you, and it, I think it'll benefit certain people and then other people not so much. So let's get into the review and we'll have a little look. So you can see here by the images that I'm showing you now, because I've opened the pack. So the images that you're seeing now is how this product comes in its packaging. And it's basically a blade. That's basically all it is. But it has like this really lightweight steel holding it in place, and it's for sharpening your pencils. Now, when I first seen this, I thought to myself, that is going to be fantastic for pastel pencil artists, because pastel pencils are notoriously bad for sharpening. They cause so many problems with sharpeners, including the hand crank sharpeners. They blunt them over time, and pastel pencils are just a real general pain in the neck, and it doesn't matter what brand you come from, they're just difficult to sharpen. But I wanted to see whether this would work well with other pencils, like just ordinary colored pencils, graphite pencils, that type of thing. Whether it would be more beneficial to use this little product over, say, a hand crank sharpener or an ordinary sharpener, or whether it's just more aimed at pastel pencils, which I think Caran really do aim this more towards just the pastel pencils. Because why would you want, I mean, there are some artists that like to shave all the wood back and have like a really big long stick of pigment for them to use, in which case perhaps I think this little tool would be good for them as well. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so as you can see here, now it comes in two different colors. I tried to get the red one, but I couldn't find the red one. It would have shown up better on this video, and plus I just think it looks nicer. But there's this silver one. So like I say, it's this lightweight metal. I'm trying to think. It's kind of like, I know what it's like. It's kind of like a potato peeler. It's like a really small potato peeler. Along one side of the metal here, you have Swiss made. It's the same with the red one. And on the other side, you have the Caran logo, Geneva, on the other side. And that is really about it. At the top here, you have the blade. And as you can see, the blade, the actual sharp part of the blade, faces inwards. So I'll show you on a pencil here. So when you're sharpening, it pulls back like that, not like that. Although I'm sure if that was a more comfortable way for you to sharpen the pencil, you could use it like that. I think what this would also be good for is, I know after talking to a lot of you guys over the years, that some people have issues with their wrists or their hands in terms of grip, that type of stuff. This might be a beneficial little tool for you in terms of sharpening. But it just depends. If you're able to use a hand crank sharpener, if that's easier for you, I would definitely say stick with that rather than trying to go with this. When you buy the product, you get spur blades as well. I think there's 3 in here, so you get 3 spur blades, which is handy. Now, whenever you want to replace a blade, all you do is just pull the metal part, the metal tongs gently apart, and the blade will just fall out. Now, I would say that for people that do have issues with their hands, grip and wrist, that would be a little bit tricky, I'm sure. I actually think that would be a little bit cumbersome, and perhaps you could end up getting cut. I don't think kids could use this type of thing, because having a blade like this exposed, when it's inside there, it wouldn't be too bad. But changing that blade, I definitely wouldn't allow kids to do that. I would definitely have an adult doing that. In fact, actually, looking at this, I wouldn't have kids using this at all, because it's just purely and simply because of the blade. So to replace it back in, you've just got to prise open the metal, which is, it's not really difficult, but it is a little bit tricky there. I will say that it is a little bit tricky. It's not simple to do, but once it's in place. There's two little like ridges on the inside here, and the blade kind of like fits into those ridges, and the tongs just close in on it, and that's what keeps the blade in place. So let's have a look at this little thing in action. Okay, so this is my little tin for sharpening, and I'm going to turn the blade around later on, and we'll see if it works the other way as well. But obviously this is the traditional way of using it. You can see there in the camera where the blade part is. You can see the difference in the metal. So alright, so when you're using a craft knife, so let's just say you've got a Stanley knife or a craft knife. What you would normally do with a pastel pencil is you would keep the blade away from you. You would put your thumb on the blade, like so, and kind of push down with your thumb and let the blade then do the action. With this little thing, it's pretty much the same format. And you would just pull it along like that. Now it is very, very sharp. Really, really sharp. I think where this little thing, this little scraper, which is what Caran call it, I think where this really will come into its own is once you have the wood peeled back. So let's get all this wood off. I mean, like, these are really sharp. I'm guessing that the replacements are the same, but it is really, really super sharp. You really just could not give this to young children at all. And I'm guessing, I haven't checked, but I'm guessing Caran will have some sort of thing on their website about that, because Caran are really good about things like that as well. But I'm just saying, as a reviewer, I definitely wouldn't give this to a child. All sorts of things could go wrong, and you could end up with a bit of claret on your art, and one of your kids down in accident and emergency. Okay, so where I think this little thing will come into its own is when you are actually doing the shaping part. You are going to get that point, and this I guessed right. This is where this little thing is really, really quite good. With a craft knife, it's much more difficult to kind of like do that with it, because when you're doing that, you have a tendency, you can at times put too much pressure on it going down and break the core. With this little thing, there definitely seems to be a lot more control. It seems to be a lot more delicate whenever it's shaping in the actual core of the pencil. So let me see if I can get a really good point on this for you. See how beneficial this would be. Now, like I said, I personally think this is definitely aimed for pastel pencil artists. I don't think Caran would market this at any other thing, because purely and simply because they have sharpeners and what have you. They have hand crank sharpeners for their colour pencils and graphite pencils, that type of thing. It's always the pastel pencils that cause the issues. There you go. I mean, you could go on there and try and get an even finer point. There we go. But on the grand scheme of things, that is a really nice point. And if you look at the core there, it's quite round. It looks like it's come out of a sharpener. It doesn't look like it's been done with a craft knife or anything like that. So I would say that this little scraper is actually a really, really good tool. But I genuinely think that it's done a really good job of that. It got a really nice point, and the actual core of it isn't kind of like all chunked and kind of like nicked out of and what have you, which sometimes happens whenever you're using a craft knife. So that's worked really, really well with the pastel pencil. I have here a graphite pencil, which I was taking a little bit of the wood back. Let me just zoom in there a little bit so you can see. And again, I'm kind of like just back to shaping the actual graphite. Obviously, graphite's harder and what have you, so it will take a little bit longer to try and shape it and get it into that point. But in terms of shaving back the wood off the graphite, it is a really, really excellent little tool, really is. But you know, if you're sat at a desk and you've got an ordinary pencil sharpener, like one of the M&Rs or something like that, something that's a really good sharp pencil sharpener, or a hand crank sharpener like the Caran one that I have here, or any of the other really good sharpeners that are about, there really wouldn't be any need to use a little tool like this. But I tell you, and another thing that this little tool would be good for is if you're out and about and you got watercolor pencils or anything like that. I've just got some Ingress pastel paper here, but what it would be really good for is just shaving off pastel dust off your pastel pencil onto the paper. If you're doing like a scene or anything like that, and you need to do a large area, you can just sprinkle the dust over. You can see there that it's on the paper, and then just rub it in with your finger. So it's good for that. It's good for traveling. Very, very sharp. Just let me move this out. You can see there that it's worked really well on the graphite pencil as well. I have a Caran Luminance pencil here. Brand new. So I'm really reluctant to use it on this, but again, I think you could definitely use it on colored pencils. There's nothing really from stopping you, but it's kind of like one of those things. Why would you use it? What reason would you have to use it if you've got a really nice ordinary pencil sharpener? You see, I'm kind of like hacking up the core of this luminance here, and it's kind of making me feel sick just looking at this, the mess I'm making with this. And I know that I know that there are a lot of graphite artists or color pencil artists that like to kind of like shave the wood right the way back off the core and have like a good inch, maybe 2 inch and a half of core, and the wood stripped all the way back, and that's absolutely fine. That's a style of art that they like. And so for people like that, this little tool, this Caran pencil scraper, would be really, really excellent. But I personally think that this is more aimed at pastel pencils, and as you can see, I've already shown you the result that I got with this Caran pastel pencil is really, really good. So you can see there that it's not just I know I'm kind of like being ridiculous, but it's not just for Caran pastel pencils. But the only thing I would say about it is the price. Okay, so the price, which if you want to know the price, go across to the Art Gear Guide. I never mention the prices on the videos because prices change so often. It's just easier for me to change the prices over on the Art Gear Guide on the written review. But if you go across, take a look at the price of this little thing. It's really difficult to determine whether it's worth the price or not. And I'm not even talking about whether you get this from the Caran website. I'm talking about if you're going to go to a third-party site as well. It's still a hefty sum of money for what you get. However, if you're a color pencil artist or a graphite artist and you want to get this, I would say, really think hard about that, because if you've got a good hand crank sharpener, or you've got just a really good, these little brass M&R sharpeners are excellent. There really wouldn't be any need to go and get this. But if you're a pastel pencil artist, I think this will be invaluable for you. I think it'll speed up the process of sharpening your pencils. I think you'll be able to get much more refined point on it. I think as well that this will enable you, because sometimes pastel pencil artists waste a lot of the pigment through the craft knife and what have you, making mistakes. I think this little thing here will cut that down by quite a significant amount. I did say that I was going to show you what it looks like the other way round. Now, it's important to note that this is not the right way to use this, okay? This is just me looking at a different way of doing it. So I've got another pastel pencil here. I'll just zoom in a little bit for you. And rather than this pulling motion, so if you wanted to, actually it's really quite clumsy. If you wanted to, you could put your thumb on the back of it. Don't know whether you can see that. Put your thumb on the back of it and push it down that way, and then it doesn't work that way. I mean, that it's really unnatural to do it that way. So I would definitely say stick with the way it's designed. Anyway, guys, that's my review of this little Caran pencil scraper. I think for pastel pencil artists, I think this will be really, really invaluable. I think it's a really excellent little tool. I think if you are a color pencil artist or a graphite artist, it's really not something that it would work that well for, unless, like I say, you're one of those graphite artists or color pencil artists that likes to have quite a lot of pigment available, and you like to cut the wood back quite a significant amount. I think this tool might be beneficial for you, but definitely aimed more towards a pastel pencil artist. And I would say do not allow kids near this. You could end up having a 4-fingered or a 3-fingered kid by the end of the day, because the blade is very, very sharp, and I should imagine the tiny little fingers could make mistakes. So I would definitely say not to have this anywhere near children. And that's really about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this review. I know it's a slightly quicker one, but I just thought I'd seen this little product many, many times on Amazon and eBay. I just wanted to see whether it was worth the money. I wanted to see whether it did what it said on the tin type of thing. I wanted to see if it was just a gimmick or whether it was an actual product that was going to make your life easier. And if you're a pastel pencil artist, it definitely makes your life easier, a whole lot easier. So it's an excellent little tool for those particular types of artists. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this review. I really look forward to seeing you again in the next one. And now that Amelia's starting to get a little bit better, hopefully the reviews will start coming thick and fast. Thanks, guys. Bye.